What's up, everyone? Welcome to RotoGrinders NFL Showdown pre-lock. We got some Thursday night football brewing between the Buffalo Bills and the Houston Texans. I'm your host today, TJ Zwarych, joined by former $1 million winner and very recent last NFL slate, 50K winner. Congrats on a big week, Bobby. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. I love showdown slates. So showdown's probably my favorite format of DFS at this point. So I'm happy to be doing this show with you.
Might be mine too. I do really enjoy some NFL Showdown stuff. Typically, last year at least, did way better on Showdown than main slates. Started the year that way this year as well, but finally been having some good main slates recently also. And this is a fun game. We got the Buffalo Bills, one of the best offensive players in the league with Josh Allen going up against one of the best defenses in the league. Buffalo is 5.5 points favorites, despite this one being in Houston. Give me your read on these kind of two teams so far this season, because Houston, obviously, their offense has looked pathetic, but their defense has looked pretty incredible. Buffalo, I mean, Josh Allen's doing what he can, but they don't have a receiver on that team. What do you think about these guys for like both fighting for some playoffs? You think these guys is Buffalo a Super Bowl contender, considering they can't stop the run and they have no receivers?
In the words of Cam Newton, the Buffalo Bills are fool's gold. They are not a Super Bowl contender. That's just my take on it currently. Their defense, I didn't think was going to be great going into the year. And the fact that they have so many issues in terms of like not having an alpha, and they're just rotating guys at the receiver position makes it, I think, very difficult for them to basically, if you take Josh Allen away from this team, they're not a really good football team. So yeah. Team game.
I honestly think if you take away Josh Allen, they might be one of the worst ones.
Exactly. And are they I know they beat the Chiefs recently in Buffalo, but are they going to beat Reed and Spags in the playoffs? Is McDermott going to beat Reed and Spags? We've seen it multiple times at this point. They're not going to beat them in the playoffs.
I had a lot more faith in them last year than this year, but it just doesn't really look good for that team this year. Obviously, still a lot of time left in the season, but not feeling overly confident in Buffalo's long-term outlook the rest of this year. And good point from Jay Mammon in chat. That's if Mahomes and the Chiefs even make the playoffs, right? Because they're in a really tough spot right now as well.
They're not beating the Pats. They're not beating the Pats.
Your Patriots are looking pretty damn good.
Good coaching and a good quarterback. Literally, that's what it is. Coaching and quarterback. Bills have quarterback. I don't know what McDermott is. McDermott a good coach?
I genuinely don't know. I
didn't think the Patriots had the roster at the beginning of the year either, but their defense is definitely legit. So
defense great quarterback play can hide a lot of mistakes.
Not sure what's in your clam chowder, Bobby. It's getting to your head. See, come playoff time, you can always slide in my DMs. We can make a bet. I can win and you won't pay me because I have no idea who you are. That's usually what happens on Twitter or YouTube comments.
Buffalo and Houston, tonight's game. How do you think this one plays out from not individual players, but game script and who's coming away victorious?
I think it's going to be, what's the spread? Do you have the spread real quick?
5.5 for Buffalo.
Oh, yeah. I think Houston keeps it close a little here. But my Allen stacks, if I do build Allens, I'm building in a 5-1s. Or just really correlated Allen teams and just hope I hit the lottery with these receivers. I would imagine, because it's going to be pretty difficult to parse between Shavers, Gabe Davis. We know Shakir's there, but he did nothing with Dawson Knox last week. And this is the difficult situation with Buffalo.
I do think a lot of this game, the game script and how high scoring it is depends so much on if Woody Marks or Nick Chubb, but probably Woody Marks is able to break these long touchdown runs on the Bills like almost every other team has been able to on the ground. If I'm not mistaken, One for sure. They might have 200-yard rushers so far this year. Just getting absolutely destroyed on the ground, explosive big plays on the ground. If Houston's able to break some of those off, I do think this could end up being one of those situations where we got to see Josh Allen go into Superman mode, and it doesn't matter if they have a great defense. He's Josh Allen. He's just going to run all over him and make some crazy plays. He typically does that in those games where he's forced to come from behind or it's playing really tight and he's got to come through late. I think it's kind of either going to be a low-scoring game that Buffalo controls, or if Houston is able to make some of these big plays on the ground, then we might end up seeing a little bit of a shootout. I don't think Davis Mills is going to be able to do that against the Buffalo pass defense. But if they're able to break off some big runs, I do think we could see some, not like big time fireworks, but fireworks relative to the low total in this one. Let's start breaking down the positions, the captains. We'll go through these different pricing tiers. Josh Allen, the guy. Obviously, he's projecting for nearly 30% ownership at the captain position on DraftKings. On FanDuel, we're looking at, I assume, higher. Let me switch to it right now. Actually, slightly lower, 26%. Captain ownership or MVP ownership for Josh Allen. Is that something you are looking to say, I don't care, it's Josh Allen, I want him at the captain position and I'll get different elsewhere? Or are you trying to make a pivot?
I want Josh Allen. I'm currently going to be under the field on Allen in both the captain and the flex. It's the easiest play, right? Like everyone's going to load up on Allen. And this is why we love Showdown. You can take the risk. I know the usage is going to be there for Allen, and there's a bunch of receivers there that you can try to pick which ones they're going to go with. Houston D is like the one bright spot of this team. And so
really good defense.
Really good defense. So like if you take these receivers away from Allen, if Shavers doesn't have the game he has last year, if you're playing roulette with the receivers, trying to pair, Allen's not my favorite captain. I know that Nico Collins is going to get the ball in this game, like definitively on the side of Houston. I know that Houston's defense is good. I know that everyone's going to be playing Josh Allen. I'm playing more Nico Collins than I am playing Josh Allen currently in the captain spot.
I think my favorite captain pivot off of Allen, like if you're playing, low stakes single entry or cash games, you're wanting to make sure you are profiting tonight. You're trying to build your bankroll up a little bit. Josh Allen is undoubtedly the guy. Like he's going to be incredibly highly owned. You're looking for safety. That is your option. But trying to find somebody to outscore him, I don't mind the Nico Collins call. I think my favorite pivot, though, is going to be Woody Marks. That's the guy that I'm looking to captain the most as like my Josh Allen pivot. He's projected for 5% ownership in that captain spot. I could see that getting steamed up a little bit, but he also was just horrific last week, so that might not be the case either. I like Woody Marks as in a captain spot. I think my next favorite guy would be James Cook, but he's probably going to be relatively highly owned as well. If Collins is your number one pivot, who are some of the other guys you're looking at captain today?
Jay Mammon, feel free to slide in hit me up on Twitter, Bobby Gomes DFS. Yeah, no, I'm always willing to take action. Yeah, so basically, Nico would be my favorite. If I like Nico, right, the correlation with Davis Mills makes sense. Like we've seen Mills uses legs. I know Davis Mills stinks, but we know that he has an affinity for throwing the ball to Nico Collins, which I think is a good thing.
That's what I said when his first start a couple weeks ago. I said he was what Mac Jones is to Brian Thomas. That's what Davis Mills is to Nico Collins. He goes out there and just says, "I'm going to throw this guy the ball every time,"
which I love. Right? We love that.
That's what we want.
And if Houston is trailing, which I would imagine they're going to be trailing, I like the Mills to Collins side. James Cook and Mark, so I'm at the field on currently with the captain pretty much. I'm going to be playing some Texans D in the captain. Like I said, I think this is how the field's going to play it, is just jam. And especially when I listened to shows earlier, like everyone's saying Allen's the easiest captain. Well, Yeah, but it's a 1-game slate and anything can happen. And I don't play for dupes. Like, if you look at my stuff, I'm relatively under 5 dupes probably on the majority of my stuff. I don't want to win in the train. So trying to think about how not to win a train. I like the Texans D up in captain. With liking Nico Collins and liking Davis Mills, I think I'll have some Dalton Schultz. Gonna be under on Shakir. Bills D, I'm not gonna have much. Like I said, I'm pretty bullish on the Texans pieces tonight. But yeah, Woody Marks, like I get it versus this run D, it makes sense. So definitely leaving him in the pool. Cook versus Houston. Like there's 2 pieces I'm worried about beating me on the Bills, and that's Allen and Cook. So I'm going to get those guys in. I'm not going to axe them completely, but I think I'm more on the Houston side tonight, just because I know like where the good play is coming from, pretty much.
I'm only running 5 lineups, so I didn't get into any of the Texans captain type stuff, but I'm getting to a lot of them at flex, and I really like that call because Buffalo and Baltimore are 2 teams that I feel like people just don't ever want to touch a defense against. But these haven't been the same unflappable offenses that they have been in the past. Lamar Jackson is getting sacked a lot. He's played 7 games this year, and he's already been sacked more times than the entirety of last season. Josh Allen's been turning it over a lot lately, and it's a lot of it has been on like tipped balls and things like that. But this still isn't as finely tuned of an offense as we've seen in the past. So don't mind getting to the Texans defense here a little bit. I also like getting to the Bills defense, just not because I don't think the Texans will do anything offensively, but just because their offensive line is so bad that this could be one that, even if the Texans put up 25, 30 points, somewhere in that range, we could still see like a 6-7 sack game from the Bills defense today, just because the Texans are kind of on that Chargers, Raiders level of tier right now where they just can't block anybody, especially they can't pass block anybody. And so don't mind taking on both of those defenses there. If you are, or I guess like, so we've talked about our favorite captains as we make the pivot to the flex spot. I can't remember what you said. Are you underweights on Allen, period, or just in the captain position?
That's what's getting me nervous is like I'm taking a strong stance against Allen in the captain and in the flex. I'm not going to have much Allen.
Definitely scary. If Mills and Allen are your top, or sorry, if Mills and Collins are
Mills,
your
Texans D, and Collins playing the other side completely.
What are your exposures to these mid-tier pricing guys? With, you mentioned you're light on Shakir, had some Dalton Schultz. This range I feel like is a lot weaker than most showdown slates. We'll get to the cheap guys, and I do think there are a lot of cheap options, but below marks, we have Shakir at 8K, Dalton Schultz at 6.4, and then there's nothing until the kickers. I feel like we usually have between 5K and 9K, usually 3, 4, sometimes even 5 guys that we can go to. There's 2 today. There's Shakir, Schultz, and that's it. You kind of have no choice but to leave a ton of salary on the table or to build very stars and scrubsy today. Are you looking like with the Josh Allen fade, you're going to be leaving a lot of salary today?
I leave salary anyways. Definitely don't spend up to the cap in large field.
But like would you say like typically even more than usual today?
Yeah. Kind of just do the same thing every night. But yeah, for me, like within that range, I like the Texans D a ton. I also don't mind the kickers. I know a lot of people around the industry went to the kickers in the Dallas game, which made a ton of sense. I was pretty much with the field. Tonight, like I'll play Prater, I'll play Fairbairn. I think those guys are good. I like Jaden Higgins a good bit. Yeah, Jaden Higgins. Where's Schultz's price? Schultz is 6,400. If I had to rank the mid tier, like let's say 5 down to 4K, I'd go Texans, Fairbairn, Prater, and Higgins are probably my favorite in that order. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Maybe Joshua Palmer on the Bills. Don't mind him.
Going back to Schultz quickly, is when you're building showdown teams, especially on a showdown slate, not a slate where there's a ton of games and you can afford to be a little pickier and choosier. There's something like a stat that the Bills defense has given up the fewest fantasy points to opposing tight ends this year. Is that something you give a damn about or not at all?
I really care about like how he fits into what I'm playing and what the field is doing, and then trying to do something that leverages it. So like I'm fine. Like I have a good bit of Schultz. Like if Schultz, what do we have for Schultz ownership?
27% at the
Yeah,
captains.
I'm right around the field on Schultz. I'm just not going over. Like that's a narrative. It's obviously backed up by data, whatever. But everyone knows that. And I don't want to play in a showdown slate what everyone's doing, especially a showdown slate like this where everything's going to be so high variance. So yeah.
Makes complete sense. I'm picking up what you're putting down. As soon as we get cheaper than these.
Yeah. I don't like being under on Allen at all. Like it doesn't make me feel comfortable.
Yeah.
But
it's not because you think Allen's going to suck. It's because everybody's playing Allen. So
everyone's playing Allen. Like I listen to every show and they got the cash game guys on there and they just and no one thinks about like from the other side of it, how does this lose? You know? So like everyone has their takes and like the good plays, and I can look at projections and be like, oh, that's fantastic. You know what I mean? And sometimes I'm gonna be dead wrong because like the projections in the industry are the best they've probably ever been. But it pays when you're right, right? So, and like I said, I don't play to get into trains. Like I hate seeing trains. I hate being a part of like big trains. So I'm playing to get under 5 dupes or unique lineups on Showdown.
And
which I don't think enough people kind of talk about.
And it's like you said, like, sure, it may be wrong, but it pays when it's right. You can be wrong 9 times in a row with a big fade like that. But the time you're right, it's paying off all those other 9 times and far more. So I totally get what you're saying, as evident by big takedown just on over the weekend, almost.
Well, I played that team was relatively chalky, right? Like I think it's different for Showdown. Like over the weekend, people were saying to play Sean Tucker. Like if you played Sean Tucker, you lost. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, he was a good play, but how do you fit him into a good lineup? You know what I mean? Yeah, I played pretty chalky on that Arizona game, San Fran. I think that game was pretty chalky. I think
the Arizona stack was, but like every other chalk on the slate failed outside of San Fran and Arizona.
Yeah.
That was like, I feel like that was like one of our first weeks where all of a sudden, like a lot of the individual chalky plays and a lot of that was because of injury. Josh Jacobs went down, Jaylen Warren went down, but a lot of the chalky individual plays failed on that one, and it can happen on any given. It was an
absolutely brutal slate. Like it was brutal to watch. The games were terrible. You know what I mean? Like it was Josh Jacobs went down. Yeah, it was a tough watch. That slate. It wasn't a good NFL product this weekend for what it's worth.
As soon as we get cheaper than 5K, and we've already talked about the defenses a lot, so we can kind of avoid them here, but this is where it kind of turns into a shit show because all of these guys are basically the same, right? When you're looking at the Houston Texans, Jaden Higgins, Xavier Hutchinson, these guys just get swapped around left, right, and center. Dawson Knox is a good value at only 4K, but he's also right tucked between Gabe Davis, Joshua Palmer. You got Tyrell Shavers over there a little bit cheaper. These guys are all projected within 1.5 points of each other, basically. How are you handling the receiver position today?
Like I said, Nico is my favorite. Just trying to get as much Nico as possible.
Like of the cheap options.
Of the cheap options. Sorry, ADHD. Really bad. Gabe Davis is the one that's going to stick out for me the most. Like he's the one I want leverage on. Has the rapport with Allen. People are going to go to Schaefer's. They're going to go to Palmer. I like Davis. I think Schaefer's is totally fine. I think Schaefer's is going to be a stud, and that price is too cheap for Schaefer's. Like I would not leave him out of your pool. But again, like there's so much that can go wrong on the slate in terms of picking the Bills guy that is right. Like you might as well just leave it in and not try to go overweight on it. Ty Johnson is used by the Bills as a pass catching back. I don't mind him. Definitely the ones that stand out to me, like just Pat. So just Pat. Gabe Davis is the Bill that I just want to be overweight on.
That is the
Him and
exact
Palmer.
same page for me tonight. Like, I'm getting to more Shavers just because of how cheap he is, but Gabe Davis is my preferred target. Like, I think he is when Dawson Knox and Joshua Palmer are both going to be in the 30% range, I think I might like Gabe Davis better than both of them, not considering ownership. And so considering ownership, he just looks incredible to me for tournaments. I'm on the same page there.
Yeah, I like that. And they have to like get someone going with Allen. So it would make sense, like the guy that has had the most report. What did he throw? He scored 4 touchdowns in that AFC Championship game 4 years ago at the Chiefs, or 5 years ago versus the Chiefs. Played a phenomenal game. Like, not saying
he
he's
didn't play all that many snaps in their first game because like he just signed. Still 4 targets.
Yeah.
I like that call quite a bit today. If I'm going even cheaper than that, I think my preferred choice is Elijah Moore. Only 1K. He was a healthy scratch last week, but there's no Curtis Samuel this week. And basically Elijah Moore and Curtis Samuel are the same guy. And so he should step into that role in the offense where he's moving around a little bit. He might get a carry or two and hopefully a couple short passes. And that's all you need at 1K. If he happens to break one, happens to score a touchdown, you're really cooking. But I think that's probably my preferred punt. If you're going sub 2K, Jackson Hawes and below, who would be your favorite to just eyes closed, punt, hope for the best?
Yeah, not getting to a ton of guys. Sub 2K. Well, I'm getting the guys, but no, I'm getting significant leverage on. Sub 2K. No one I'm getting leverage on. Like Jalen Noel is in my pool, but I'm not really over the fill on him. Dare for the Houston, like there's nothing I'm really playing. I'm kind of sticking like the majority of my leverage, like playing these defense, the defense for the Texans, the kickers, etc. Playing from that perspective, getting those guys.
If you got any questions, get them into the RotoGrinders live stream Discord chat. Get them into the YouTube chat. If you are watching us on YouTube, all we ask is that you hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on all of our shows. But hit the like button. That's most important. Give it a nice little click. Take your mouse, slide it over, give it a little click. You're watching on your phone or tablet. You got to press hide chat. It's a little X in the right-hand corner. You give that a click. It hides. You can give us a like. Help us battle that YouTube algorithm. And it's also a perfect time, if you didn't know, Thursday is the day I like to do this. Thursday, if it were me buying myself a 3-day pass, Thursday would be the day that I want to do it, because then I get access to the showdown stuff on Thursday night. I can play some NHL and NBA on Friday. Or sorry, I'm thinking Combo Pro. But it gives me all Friday and Saturday to prep for Sunday football. I feel like I don't even necessarily need it on Sunday itself, because I can just watch the shows, right? We got shows from 9:30 Eastern, 3.5 hours right up until lock. So I feel like Thursday is the day I want to use the NFL 3-day pass. You get access to showdown stuff on Thursday. You can do your research Friday, Saturday, build yourself some lineups, and you can get it now for only $9.99. That is half off. You don't want a commitment, but you want to try the tools, get yourself an NFL 3-day pass. Or if you want access to more than just NFL, you can get yourself Combo Pro. First month for $79.99. That's only $5 more than NFL Premium. You get access to NFL, NBA, NHL, college football, PGA, MMA, and our NBA and NHL teams just been absolutely crushing it lately. So make sure you check yourself out. Some Combo Pro. And let's take some of these questions here. We'll, of course, give our Feel It in the Plums play as well. Our play who we think is going to be breaking the slate today, as we always do on Showdown. But looking at some questions first, I assume this is season long, but I can't imagine.
Kirkwood 5, 7, 8, 10 is the best time to message him for season long.
Season long, Chris Kirkwood between 7 and 10 p.m. I got to imagine this Egbuka or Nico Collins thing is I have to imagine that season long, but I don't know a scenario where you're not playing both Egbuka and Nico Collins in season long. Probably should be getting both those guys, but I guess if I'm picking one, we will go Nico Collins. What do you think about Kymie Fairbairn, the kicker for Houston, at captain tonight?
I like him. I don't like him at captain, but I like him in the flex for sure. I like both kickers a ton. This is my kicker slate that was supposed to happen on the Dallas slate.
DK GPP, you want Shavers or Knox?
Shavers or Knox? I'm going to go Knox.
Like Shavers for that salary, but if I can afford it, I would probably rather Knox as well. Davis or Knox? Gabe Davis, Dawson Knox for on DraftKings today.
Davis.
Really, really a fan of him as well. I am on that. Also, that leads us right into our Feel It in the Plums play, Bobby. Who are you feeling in your heart, in your soul, in your plums? Who's breaking the slate tonight?
Nico Collins. Let's go.
Tell me why.
I obviously Allen's, I said at the beginning of the show, phenomenal play. I just want to play some Nico Collins on the slate. If everyone's going to be playing Allen, Collins is the second best player on the slate and gets a ton of usage versus a bad Bills pass defense. They should be trailing. Nico Collins is the guy I want to be overweight on.
Single entry, large field. Who is your favorite captain? Oh, I guess I got to get my field in the Plums play. Sorry. But I guess that's my same answer. Single entry, large field. I feel like, Bobby, you'd be going Nico Collins, and I think mine, Woody Marks. That's my field in the Plums play today. Buffalo's run defense has just been absolutely awful all season long. Not just bad, like genuinely atrocious. We saw what we thought was a good spot for Woody Marks last week, and he, I think, had 11 carries for 19 yards. Hopefully that will keep people off of him from an ownership perspective tonight. He is the guy that I would be going with. Your guy infiltrating the chat, Bobby, Broccoli Boy, wants to know if anyone had any good hits last week.
No, I don't know what he's talking about.
Bobby, of course, being modest, taking third in the Millie Maker last week, shouting out Broccoli Boy on Twitter, and he is here to return the love. Any last minute questions in, feel free to get them here, but it looks like we will be bouncing out of here, putting some more time in your evening, giving you time to go grab a drink, grab some food, finalize your lineups, and hopefully win some money tonight in Showdown NFL with the Bills, with the Texans. Any bets you like on today's slate?
I'm not. I like Nico's overs, whatever those are, but I didn't bet any games or any props or anything.
I did not for tonight's slate either. I don't think these single game ones, I don't like to try and force too much, but it is kind of fun to throw 2 or 3 picks in there on like an underdog lineup or a prize picks, but I didn't do that for tonight. That'll do it for today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. Bobby will be back with Tim and Dean bright and early, 9:30 a.m. Eastern time on Grinders Live this weekend. I haven't checked the schedule, but I assume I will be on crunch time, taking you all the way up to lock on Sunday. We got myself and Will. So Dean, Bobby, and Tim first thing in the morning. You got the regular GPP final takes crew following them at 11. 5-4 Neil and Eric. Eric 5-4, Jordan Vanek, Neil Orfield. There we go. It's combining first and last names for a while with myself and Will taking you all the way up to lock. So it's why you want to hit the like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on all the good shows we have coming. Final question here, Bobby. Season long, for if Kirk Dees is not available, Woody Marks or Jawan Jennings for season long?
I don't even know who Sanford plays. Probably Jawan Jennings. I don't know. What do you know who Sanford plays? I have no idea.
I think I would lean Marks on this one.
Not to be, I just don't know. Literally.
I thought off the top of my head, I'm going to be honest, I thought it was San Fran's bye week. But I'm pulling it up right now. Oh, they're Monday night. Apologies. They're Monday night against.
They're on the main slate. Like I have no idea.
Yeah, if they're not, that's exactly for me too. If they're not on the main slate, I haven't seen them. I kind of just assume it's bye week. but they are on Monday Night Football going up against the Panthers. I'd personally go Woody Marks in that one. Panthers been pretty tough on outside wide receivers this season, and so I'm going with Woody Marks in that one. That'll do it. Thank you so much for joining us today. We will see you next time. On behalf of myself and Bobby, peace.